welcome to the second episode of ECCB Connects. Today we'll be speaking about one of the key operations of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, and I know you'll find it particularly interesting because this operation affects the lives of all citizens of the ECCB member countries. We're going to talk about money. And we have Mr. Rosbert Humphrey, Deputy Director of the Currency Management Department, to chat with us about how money moves from the ECCB into your hands and how the ECCB ensures that there's always an adequate supply of money for us to use. Rosbert, welcome to ECCB Connect.
Thank you very much.
Rosbert, the ECCB conducts outreach programs where we go to schools and community organizations, churches, businesses to talk about financial education and the roles and functions of the ECCB. And one of the first questions we ask in terms of getting an understanding of what people know about the ECCB is we will ask, what does the ECCB do? And most times, the first response we get is that the ECCB makes money.
No, well, the ECCB does not make money. We do our minting of the coins at the Royal Canadian Mint in Canada, and the banknotes are printed at Delarue Currency in the United Kingdom.
So there's no machine at the ECCB headquarters that spills out money?
No machine at the ECCB headquarters that spills out money.
Okay, we know that the notes, the EC notes and coins that we use today are not the same notes and coins our great-grandparents used. Just give us a brief history then of the EC dollar.
Well, currency in the Eastern Caribbean started way back in 1950 with the BCCB notes, that is the British Caribbean Currency Board. In 1965, that was changed to the ECA notes, Eastern Caribbean Currency Authority banknotes and coins. In 1983, when the ECCB was formed, we started the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank banknotes, but these were actually first put into circulation in 15th of November 1984 to mark the first year of the existence of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. So since then, 1984 up to now, we have had the Eastern Caribbean Central banknotes and coins.
Okay, great. Now, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank is the only legal authorized institution to issue and manage the EC currency. First, let's look at the issuing process. How does that work? How does money move? You say the notes are made in England and the coins in Canada, and you know they're here at the ECC. But how does the currency move from the ECCB, let's say, into the hands of a businessman so that he can pay his workers?
Currency, banknotes and coins, they are shipped from the producers to the ECCB headquarters here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We send these currencies, some of these currencies, to the islands, right? So we have representatives in the islands who manage this stock, right? Who then issue to the commercial banks on a demand basis. Here in St. Kitts, we do it from ECCB headquarters, where we actually issue to the commercial bank on demand.
Okay. And those in the countries, the ECCB resident representatives are responsible for?
They are the ones responsible for issuing currency to the commercial banks, who would then, get it in the hands of the general public.
The ECCB is also responsible for ensuring that there's an adequate supply of money, that when people want money, money is available. How does the ECCB, how does it go about this process of ensuring that money is always available to the public?
Well, we use an average method in terms of forecasting banknotes and coins for the general public. So we have a good idea as to what each country uses from time to time. So we use a particular period, right, and then do our forecast, and then we order banknotes and coins for a period. We have stocks in our vault so that anytime at all we can always replenish the island stock at our resident representatives in the islands, or even here in St. Kitts. So we actually do that on a forecasting basis.
Okay. Let's take a look at the notes. We see let's say on the $100 notes, on the left and right sides, there are some numbers, some codes. What do these codes mean?
These are not codes, they are serial numbers. These we use for tracking purposes, right? I mean, we can pick up any note at any time and determine where it was first issued, whether it was St. Vincent and the Grenadines or St. Kitts, right? And it gives us a good idea also as to how much notes are in circulation. So these are what we actually use to track the notes and make our different analysis and assessment of banknotes operations in the Eastern Caribbean.
Ever so often we hear of counterfeit notes, and I know the ECCB has taken serious steps to ensure that the EC dollar is not easily counterfeited. So let's look now at some of the key security features of the EC dollar.
Well, some of the basic, I mean, we have quite a number of security features on our banknotes. As a matter of fact, our banknotes, the Eastern Caribbean Central Banknotes, has probably in the whole world has the most security features you can actually find on any one banknote. Now, but some of the basic security features you can actually look for on our banknotes are the feel of it, right? I mean, there are some raised prints on it. Now, efforts to counterfeit a genuine note would not give you that raised feeling. Not only that, also our banknotes are made from a special type of paper which is not reactive to ultraviolet, right? Another thing too is that
when you say not reactive to ultraviolet, how?
Okay.
What do you mean?
The ordinary paper would would glow up under UV light.
Okay.
Our banknotes would not react to UV.
Okay, so there would not be that glow.
No,
okay.
No, not at all. Right? Also, we have two serial numbers on our banknotes, the vertical and the horizontal, and they are they are the same, right? No two banknote of the same denomination should have the same serial number. So each banknote has a unique serial number, right? Which is the same, the vertical and the horizontal on the left and the right. We have also a special feature on the banknotes where if you hold it up to light, you would actually see a portrait of the Queen, right? Any efforts to reproduce our banknotes would not bring out that particular feature, right? And there are several other features in our banknotes, but those are the basic features you should actually look for, right? And anything that is suspicious should be need for concern.
And recently a strip was added to the notes.
Yeah, well, it wasn't really added. What we have done, what we did is to upgrade this strip so that it makes it even more difficult to actually counterfeit. Any efforts to do that would actually bring out a black strip and not necessarily the glow starchrome thread that we have in that banknote.
Okay, but with all of these efforts to prevent counterfeiting, we do sometimes hear of cases where counterfeit notes are being circulated. What should a person do if he finds himself in possession of a counterfeit note?
Well, that person, once they know or they have strong suspicion that the note is counterfeited, they take it to the police. Provide the name of the place or person where they get it from, right, and when they get it. So at least the police can do the investigation. If you do not know, you can take it to any of our ECCB offices, right? And then we will actually do follow-up with the police also. If a case requires prosecution, they do that. After the case, they would actually redeem or they would actually send them to the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank.
Okay, so it's a criminal offense to counterfeit and to use counterfeit notes?
Yes, it is. I mean, once you're in possession of counterfeit notes, once you actually make effort or you spend counterfeit notes, right, it is a criminal offense.
Knowingly?
Knowingly or unknowingly, it is a criminal offense.
Even if you don't know that it's counterfeit?
Even if you don't know, it is. So then you have to provide all the information, right, to the police as to where you get it from, how you get it, and that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. We have cases of persons having EC notes stashed away for years. There are also cases, unfortunate cases, where persons might, have had fire at their house and their notes would have been burnt. In cases like that, can persons get value for money that has been burnt or money that is old?
Of course, and with respect to the burnt notes, it depends on the extent of the damage. Banknotes, we can actually send them to the ECCB or even to the commercial banks. I mean, they have their valuation guidelines which they can use. So the notes depends on the extent of the damage, like I said before, determines whether you get full value or half value or no value at all. For example, if a note bears only half of the governor's signature and one serial number, you actually get half value for that banknote.
Half value, let's say it's $100, then you will get
you'd only get $50. Right.
Okay.
If the note bears the governor's full signature and one serial number, you get full value. So what is critical there is the governor's signature. Right. In the case of the old banknotes, ECCB banknotes or BCCB banknotes, yes, they too can be redeemed for face value only. So don't think that because you have a BCCB notes from 1950, it is what more than the face value. No. You know, every note that is redeemed depends on the extent of the damage or mutilation. It determines the value of the banknote.
And you say redeem, what do you mean by
Oh, sorry,
redeem?
when we said redeem, I mean, we actually mean bring in to the ECCB or to the commercial bank.
While the ECCB is responsible for ensuring that there's an adequate supply of money for citizens to use, I imagine as citizens, we also have a role to play in this process. What is the role of an ordinary citizen in ensuring that adequate money is available or is in circulation?
Of course, the ordinary citizen has a very, very, very important role to play in this regard. Now, they have to take care of their money, right? I mean, once the note becomes limp, once it has on graffiti or it has on dot or anything like that, I mean, these notes can be redeemed or they can be submitted to the commercial banks, right, who would then send them to the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, because the key role of the commercial bank is not to recirculate notes that are deemed to be unfit, right? So the public at large is expected to ensure that they're actually spending a clean and good supply of currency. So once the note, in their opinion, is unfit, right, which means it has some kind of dot or something like that.
Some people tend to write on money.
Exactly. I've seen notes where persons put on glasses on the queen face, make her into a rasta, and that kind of thing. So give her chains and so on. So once you observe these things they should not be recirculated, right? I mean, you're depositing them at a commercial bank, you spend them at a business, the business deposit at a commercial bank. The banks ultimately will be responsible for sending them to the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, where we would then destroy them.
Okay, so even a business, a regular, let's say a shopkeeper gets a note like that somebody has written on and defaced, that shopkeeper is responsible for sending it to the commercial bank and not reissuing it to a customer.
Very good. Yeah, that's how the process should actually work. So the commercial banks now, when they receive them, would actually send them up to us.
Okay. Now you've been working in money for over 16 years. You one of the few people who would have had intimate relationship with money. I imagine because of that you would have a sort of different attitude towards money, as an ordinary citizen. What is your attitude towards money?
Well, yes, you put it right. I mean, I'm very intimate with the currency. As a matter of fact, when I'm spending money, I tend to straighten the notes. I mean, all the dog ears and cat ears, I mean, I tend to straighten them, pull them out before I actually spend, or even when I'm actually receiving them. As a matter of fact, I hardly use a wallet. I mean, when I receive money, I just fold the money into and put it in my short pocket. I mean, that doesn't mean you should rob me, but that is how I actually perceive money right now. I have actually taken on a new hobby in terms of collecting coins from all around the world. So I have a very wide collection of coins, right? And I tend to look at the features and see what we can pick up from them, right? I mean, look at how different they are from our coins. And even in my everyday going about, right, I do not pass over, I do not step over, I do not walk over any coins or banknotes. Well, you wouldn't find banknotes on the ground really, but I do not step over any 1 cent or 2 cent or anything at all on the ground.
So you walk and pick up coins?
Of course, right? As a matter of fact, my daughter doesn't like to go into town with me because she thinks I'm embarrassing her because I pick up any coins I meet and I see on the ground. Right, so that is how intimate I am with respect to the currency. I mean, I know the intricacies involved, right? I know what we do in currency, so I mean, I'm just part of the process, but it's like a bigger part than usual.
Rosbert, you spoke about your extensive coin collection, and we know that there are other persons out there who are into coin collections. Let's say there's somebody who is interested in getting ECCB coins or notes as part of their collection. How can they do that?
Well, because we are a central bank, we do not issue currency to the general public. We do so, through the commercial banks. So persons, the general public is actually asked to check a commercial bank who then supply them, with banknotes and coins, right? However, we have commemorative coins in our stock which are available for sale, right? You can actually go to the website, ECCB website that is, right, and you will see what we have there available. You can send us an email, indicating what you would like. We can give you the instructions in terms of payment and how we can actually dispatch these coins to you.
Or somebody can call ECCB.
Yeah, and of course you can call
ECCB headquarters or
the agency offices, because we do have them in the agency offices also.
Okay. Rosbert, you seem to have a very interesting job. Dealing with money, having an intimate relationship with money. What do you like most about your job as working in the currency management department?
Well, first of all, let me tell you, I am a certified expert witness with respect to counterfeiting, right? So the examination and assessment or analyzing counterfeit notes, that is special interest to me. The different methods of counterfeiting and the lens at which people would actually go to counterfeit notes. It is difficult, mind you, to actually counterfeit our banknotes. We don't really have that high numbers in terms of counterfeit notes. But I've seen where persons actually take a $5, right, bleach it out and counterfeit a 50, onto that kind of paper. Right, the developmental changes in currency, especially from a historical standpoint, that is of key interest also, right? And all the changes that money would have actually gone through, right? Those are of key interest to me. The production of currency, which I've witnessed firsthand, to the shipment, to the issue, to the redemption, to the sorting, right, to the destruction. All those are of key interest, to me during my time, right, and would always be, even if I leave Central Bank today or tomorrow.
As we wrap up, what would you say to citizens of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union in terms of their use and care of money?
I think you have said it in your question. Take good care of your currency, right? It is yours. You have ownership to it, even if you don't have it in your hands. When it does reach your hands, you're supposed to actually take care of it. Now, remember, once the note has any form of mutilation, whether it be teared or gears or cat ears, whatever you want to call them, graffiti,
people writing on
them, dirt, you're supposed to actually, once you get rid of it by the commercial bank or spending, the business would do likewise by sending it to the commercial bank in their usual deposit. The commercial banks also have a very vital role to play in terms of redeeming those currencies as unfit to the central bank, who would then destroy them. Replenishment does not necessarily mean you put back whatever you destroy, but it is on a demand basis. And like I would have said before, we have an adequate supply, which we can always, replenish on a needs basis.
Rosbert, thank you very much for speaking with us on ECCB Connects.
You're welcome.
You're watching ECCB Connects, protecting our currency, developing our region. And now for this week's financial tip.
Hi, I'm Othniel Carr from St. Vincent and the Grenadines and a graduate of the ECCB Entrepreneurship course. Do not wait until you're close to retirement to begin saving for your retirement. You are the architect of your financial future. So just as you would save towards a car, house, piece of land, or even sending your kids to school, start saving towards your retirement fund today. The earlier you start, the greater the possibility that you would be able to afford your retirement.
To view any episode of ECCB Connects anytime, any place, at your convenience, check out our YouTube channel, ECCB Connects.
We have come to the end of another episode of ECCB Connects. This week we discuss the all-interesting topic of money. Next week we look at how the ECCB generates income, and Mr. Niall Pistano, Deputy Director at the Banking and Monetary Operations Department, will join us at that time. We do hope that you will join us for another exciting episode of ECCB Connects.